Well, I started as an actor, and I grew up in California in Santa Barbara. It's like a very sleepy little beach town, a couple hours outside of LA. And like most actors, I did community theater when I was a kid, and then I started doing some educational videos, like the ones you watch in school that teach you things. I did some of those when I was a teenager, and then UCLA gave me an amazing scholarship, so I moved to LA. And while I was going to college, I pursued acting roles out here. And ultimately, like that culminated in a bunch of independent films that went to different festivals like Tribeca and AFI and that kind of thing. And that sort of grew my love of independent film. And then I booked Justified, which was amazing for me. And from there, things just kind of grew. As far as the writing goes, I entered a script in the Nickel Fellowships, which is run by the Oscars, and it's something that they do. Yeah, yeah. And I was 20 when I entered it, and I finished it the night of and hit submit on a whim. And then I got in, which was huge, and that sort of like grew my writing career very quickly overnight. And then I sold a feature, and I was one of the youngest female members of the Writers Guild, and from there things just kind of grew. So I've kind of had my hands in like all aspects of film, but it started with acting, and I still continue to act all the time, obviously. So, yeah. Completely candid and honest with you, there's not a lot of female directors. So sadly, I think that's another thing that it never occurred to me that like I'm allowed to do. And then through this experience and through Lola, it's really become something that I want to pursue even further and continue with and continue to grow. So, I will say though that when hi Smudge, this is my cat, you haven't met yet. I will say though that when I write, I do kind of think more like a filmmaker, and you don't want to give your director direction as you're writing. That's a big no-no. But I do try to like subtextually create a very clear picture of what this movie is and who these people are and the environment that they live in. And I definitely find myself thinking more like a filmmaker than just a writer. So yeah, yeah. God, sorry. I really like Catherine Bigelow. I just think she's such a like badass. I think she's amazing. I also really like Jodie Foster, and I just had a friend who I'm very, very jealous of now work with her, and he said that she's amazing and that she truly is like one of the best. So, like just on every level, I've always thought she's incredible, and now I have like a major, major role model thing for her. I think she's awesome. So yeah. I think you always have these dreams for whatever you're working on, and you have to think about it. Like you have to have that in your mind in order to like get the work done and get the hard part done, right? So I did have that dream for it. It's a very small movie, and I hoped that someone would love it, and they did. So we're screening at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood, which I mean, it's so historic. I remember when I first moved out here, I paid like $5 for a tour with my friend. It's like not to insult the tour company, but it's literally like you get what you pay for. They like walk you into the theater and pretty much say like this is the Chinese theater, and then they walk us out. Like I don't know. I'm almost wondering like was that even an official tour? Like maybe that was just some stranger that took my $5 and he gave me a tour. It's so weird to me when people kind of do something that they, in this industry at least, that maybe they don't care about or kind of resent doing. I'm like, I don't know how you do it, because this is like, I love it, so it doesn't feel like work, but it's a lot of work. I mean, especially right now, today I'm talking to you guys, and then I have another Skype call about the movie, and then I have like a commercial audition, because, they're acting too, and it's just, I love it. I love every second of it, and I wake up and I like live, breathe, and eat this. This is my entire life, but I can't imagine doing it if you didn't love it at all. You have to live for it for sure. With something like Justified, I mean, it still had a very family feel to it. Like everyone on set was so amazing and like made me feel so at home. It's slightly bigger than what we're doing here, and definitely your role as an actor is more focused because you're just focusing on like what they want from you and what you can bring and trying to bring someone else's vision to life as best you can. And you think more about like how do I fit in this context? How do I fit in the show? Like what's the tone here that they're looking for? How do I relate to the other characters? So it's just like a more specific focus. And when you're making your own thing and you're behind the camera, you're thinking all those thoughts, but for everybody else. And I was just really fortunate on this one that I worked with amazing actors where, like, to be honest with you, just leaving them alone, they're going to do a great job anyway. So they made it much easier because like they really understood their characters, they understood this world, they knew what we were going for in advance. And then when we went to shoot, it wasn't as scary because like I know that they've got this and we can make minor adjustments and fine tune things, but at the end of the day, these people are so crazy talented. They really truly are. And all our feedback from programmers and people who see the movie has been the performances are so authentic. Which I was really fortunate to have everyone on board. So it is different just because it's like a broader perspective. And you know, with this, I was focusing on everything from like craft services to what locations we're going to use. And then even post-production, like how we want it to look, what do we want the colors to be? So yeah, it is different. It's just like a broader perspective than when you're an actor. Yeah, you guys, it was the coolest thing. What was so great is that we would shoot, right? And then we'd have a few days in between the next day we were going to shoot. So I would take the footage and upload it and look at it. And we were actually starting to cut everything together while we were shooting the movie. So if I saw something that I thought like, ooh, I don't know if this worked or if this came across, I could go back to the script and rewrite a scene and shoot it the next day. So it was like, I'll probably never get that again in my life to be so in the middle of it where like, you know, you're kind of writing as you're shooting, as you're editing. And it was amazing. Like I was right in the middle of the process and it was really cool. And it's a luxury in a way that's afforded by doing something low budget. You know, you don't have to have it all exactly planned out. And it was great. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I like the process of being in the middle of it. I think it's so nice. It's just at this point, you know, especially as an actor, you don't ever get that for sure. Like you show up and you know what you're going to be doing with the exception of last minute rewrites. You know, like you'll get things 2 hours before that are being rewritten, but typically the changes for me, in my experience, have been really minor. So yeah, I like having freedom, you know. As a writer, my experience has been you get less freedom, to be honest. You kind of the development process is very collaborative and I do love that, but you're certainly you're not, if you're developing with other people, you're not on your own saying, this is what I want to do. Like you're constantly guess and check with others. And with this, like we had to be very confident in our vision. And it's like there weren't a lot of people to check with. We just had to feel like, nope, this is what it is. This is the movie. Let's go. You didn't have time to sit there and like think over every little line. You had to just like make a decision and be like gutsy and do it. So I like that way of working. I don't like to sit around and think about things too much. I think that there's an authenticity of vision to those kind of films. And I think studio films can be amazing. I mean, I have studio films that I love, but I think there's something to be said for letting artists run wild and giving them the power to make their vision come to life. And I think that as an audience member, when you see that, like you can feel the courage there, you know, and it makes you connect with it more. And yeah, and I think too, with digital media, there's more accessibility as well. And the way that we watch things has changed. Like I expect to be able to go to Hulu Plus and watch my favorite show right now. And, you know, if I can't, I get very, very angry. And we're, we want things that are right at our fingertips. And with digital distribution, that's so easy now. And I think that in itself has increased demand because we like to watch things that way. We like to go to our computers and go on YouTube and watch videos like this. So I would say that's a big part of it too. Yeah, I know that we're ultimately definitely going to do it that way at some point. We're hoping to do a theatrical release first, knock on wood. That would be really nice. But there's also been models where people release it online first and then go theatrical. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to be right for our movie. But ultimately, I just want it to be available to as many people as possible. And I do think that the style of our film was really conducive to being released that way because it's found footage almost. So everything that you see through the camera is something Lola could have shot herself. She didn't. We had an amazing DP. Lola did not shoot everything, thankfully. But yeah, that kind of style I think works really well online because we're used to watching other videos that way. So I think we will ultimately be available that way. We know that Lola picks up trash on the side of her road. She's doing her community service. And she's making a video diary for this mysterious man named Henry. And we don't know who he is, but she's apologizing to him for something. And throughout the movie, you kind of see her life unraveling, and the mystery of who he is also unraveled. Yeah, and it's very intimate, and you find out a lot of personal things about her life and who she is. And you see her with her best friend, and you see her in a new budding relationship. And meanwhile, she's still stuck on this Henry person. Well, I've been working a lot as a writer, and we all kind of have, like, I think we all have our ideologues of things that we want to do. And you kind of, if you're going to do things on spec, you go through that and decide, like, what do I want to do next? Or is there someone that I want to develop this with? Who could I call? And for me, I just had this little voice in my head saying, like, you need to shoot something yourself. And I kind of ignored it because that sounded hard and crazy. So I was like, no, little weird voice. I'm not going to do that. But it wouldn't let me sleep, which is really unfair. I could not sleep thinking about this movie. So finally I caved, and I was like, well, I want to buy a camera anyway. I'm going to get the camera. I'm not going to do the movie. And then I was like, I'm going to write the script. I'm not going to do the movie. I'm going to talk to my friends that are actors. I'm not going to do the movie. And then eventually I was like, fuck, I'm doing this movie. So I had to do it because I think it's like basically God would not let me sleep because I think I was just like meant to make this movie. So and as far as how the idea came to me, I wanted to do something we could shoot ourselves, and I wanted to do something where that style adds to the movie and doesn't take away from it. Any imperfections or errors that we made only kind of add to the feel of the film, and they're part of the movie, and like they're a part of the movie's character. So that was just a part of it. Yeah, I did. It's funny, it never occurred to me to have someone else do it. I think just because a lot of your movies feel like your baby, but you have to let them grow up and go to kindergarten and all of that. And I just knew going into this that I wanted this to be something where I didn't feel like I was compromising any aspect of my original vision. And I think, like, in a lot of projects, other people's input makes them better. And like anything that makes you look good, you just say thank you. Like, thank you for making me look better. I love your ideas. Like, that's great. But I don't know. I just wanted to do something where it was like, if it fails, it's completely my fault, right? And if it succeeds, it's not completely my fault because I have amazing people that I'm working with. But it's just that idea, like, can I trust my own vision on its own? Like, let's test this and see how it works. And I feel really validated now that we got into it on the festival. So, whew. Guys, I do. And I'm happy about it, but I also am mad because I'm working on Lola, and I'm also doing like my normal acting work, and I'm also doing an adaptation right now. I have an adaptation that I'm super excited about. It's based on a YA novel, and I'm attached to direct that as well. I'm working with amazing producers. So the script is almost done. We're nearly there. And that will be the next one that I'm doing with other people, most likely. And then on my own, just completely on spec, I do have an idea for another movie that I want to go shoot in the woods with some people. I haven't talked to them about it yet, but I want to shoot it with some actors that were in Lola. They just don't know that they're going to be doing this crazy thing. That's how I did this. I actually asked them, I was like, hey, I wrote the script. I want to shoot a movie. What do you think? And they all said yes, and some of them hadn't read the script yet. And I was like, you're so dumb. Like, I could have written something horrible. You don't even know. Like, they're crazy. They're just totally crazy. Well, for the most part, as a writer, I work on dramedies. So it's been mostly things that are funny and sad, or taking topics that are dark and making them humorous. And Lola has been more of a drama. It's definitely skewed more that way, but we did try to incorporate like moments that are funny, and we'll see at our screening, but I hope that the audience is laughing and crying. And that's typically what I try to do. I like things that have those levels because to me life is like that. I can be really happy and also be a little bit sad because I don't know, there's that thing called the undertow. Have you heard of that? It's like when you're really really happy, there's this like little sadness underneath. Yeah, or the opposite, when you're really sad but there's also this little vein of happiness because you're like, well, the good thing is it probably can't get any worse. Right? So it almost like balances out, and that's a tone that I really like, and I think I'll probably continue to work in. Yeah, and the book adaptation I'm doing, the reason I wanted to do that book so badly is because it has that exact same tone. Like, it's funny and sad, and it was just like such a perfect fit. So I see myself continuing to work in that dramedy vein. Yeah. Oh man, I've asked myself that a lot, and I was actually talking with Anna Marie about that one. She plays my best friend in the film, and she's my best friend in real life, and she's just the best. She's the best. Right. So yeah, I think that there are some connections between me and her, but I think that the ways that we're different were very important to me in making this movie, in that I think we're both like very bothered by things. I think that if there's something that we haven't resolved, it will like eat away at us. Like, I can't let things go at all. Like, if there's something that's bothering me, I have to take care of it, and it will like eat away me. Lola though, I think doesn't have the same sense of like personal responsibility and maturity that I do. I think that she's much more immature than I am, and I definitely played her that way. But I think that we both really care about the people in our lives. I think that's a way that we're similar, and that if someone that we know is going through something, it might as well be us going through it. But the biggest difference between us is just like emotional maturity, and sort of also our histories. Like, her and I have had very different backgrounds for sure, and that's a big influencing factor. Oh man, to be honest with you, I still don't think it feels real. Like, I just, in my cabinet here, I have our DCP file. And, because to project in a theater, you have to it's on like a special drive, and it's a special file that you have to have made. And they handed me like the big fancy box that it comes in, and that made it feel a little real. I was like, ooh, this feels good. More of this. But it still doesn't feel real, to be honest with you. Maybe it'll feel real when I'm like sitting in the theater and people are watching my movie. But right now, yeah, it won't feel real until I'm sitting there, I think. So, it's really embarrassing. So they opened it for me at the post house. We've been working with a great post house, and like the guys are so nice and patient with me. And they gave me the box, and I took it home and I put it on my desk, and I was like, this is the moment. And I went to open it. I couldn't figure out how to open it. Yeah, within the festival, like their lineup, there's a couple that I really want to see. I have a festival pass that they were kind enough to share with us, so I'm gonna go see all the other features. There's one in stereo that's a romantic comedy that's also competition with us, and I want to see that one. It looks funny. And then my friend's friend has one called The Last Treasure Hunt, where they're like going to look for, I think it's like a pair of brother and sister, I'm pretty sure. Ooh, they're gonna get mad if I get this wrong. I don't know. I'm sorry, you guys. Don't be mad. But some two people, I think their siblings, go on a treasure hunt that their dad like set up for them, I think, when he passed away. I might be butchering this. I'm pretty sure that's it. It involves treasure. I want to see that one. So, and it's my friend's friend, so I'm definitely gonna go see that. But I'm gonna see all the movies. Filmmakers have to support each other, and also I'm just a competitive bastard who's really curious. But mostly we have to support each other. We have to support each other, and that's a big thing for me. So yeah, I'm excited. Oh my God, yeah, do it. Like, don't wait for permission. Go do it. If you can't sleep, if there's a voice in your head from God telling you to go make a movie, go make a movie, And learn every opportunity you have, learn. Even when I was first starting as an actor and, you know, you're taking small roles and small things, just trying to get involved in the process and meet other artists, really pay attention. Like when you get those opportunities, don't sleep through them. Like be there, be present, and pay attention to people that are doing things that have nothing to do with what you're doing, not in an annoying way, but look at what they're doing and try to understand, like, oh, what's his job? Oh, okay. Like, what's her job? Oh, that's the gaffer. That's the sound person. They're doing this. Look at how they talk to the director. Like, any opportunity you get, I don't care what you're doing, like, pay attention every second and just soak it up like a thirsty sponge or something. God, that's such a hard question. Oh, I'm so torn. Okay. I'll uh, I'll go with adaptation. I think it's really, I think it's really smart. The reason, okay, there's so many other choices from my youth. I have to pick two. I can't just pick one. I really love The Fifth Element, and I might get flack for that. I think it's brilliant. Like I love that movie. That is my comfort movie. I grew up watching that movie. I've probably seen it 100 times. I love The Fifth Element. But from a filmmaking standpoint, I mean, the script for adaptation, if you read it separately too, it's like very, very, very clever. It's just really smart and it's so well done. And the final movie, I think, is brilliant. And, those would be my two. They'd be tied.